And we continue at 1:06 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang is back home in the state of California.
Sure, John. Oakland doesn't have Major League Baseball anymore, but that doesn't mean there isn't any incredible sporting going on in Oakland. Right, Janani Ramachandran?
Did you know that cricket is the second most watched sport in the entire world? That's right. 2.5 billion people worldwide watch the sport of cricket. And guess what? It's coming to Oakland.
Well, start pouring the tea.
Major League Cricket coming to Oakland this summer.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Experts are warning that AI is going to change the world in dramatic ways, and if the world isn't prepared for those changes, there could be rough seas ahead. What say you? Do you think these predictions are accurate, or do you think it's all overblown? At 800-222-5222. Let's begin with Anthony in Encino. Anthony, hello.
Hello, John. Good afternoon, Randy and John. I want to make a comment. I'll try to keep it short, and I also want to make a pushback on something you did say also, John.
Okay.
I have two answers for the question you posed. Number one, it's hype in the way that it'll be good for mankind. Number two, it's very dangerous, and it'll send us down the road that your previous caller was mentioning, which actually fits with the book of Revelation, which I am a Christ follower. Number two, I heard you earlier say about curing the blind, curing the deaf, and curing diseases, and you compared Jimmy Swaggart to Jesus Christ. Jimmy Swaggart is a false servant and a criminal. Jesus Christ actually performed these miracles. So that what kind of
No. For the record, I did not compare Jimmy Swaggart to Jesus Christ. I compared Jimmy Swaggart to AI.
Okay. I mean, because the thing is, Christ did perform those miracles. I already see that you may not be a Christ follower from previous broadcasts, but I mean, it's just that comment kind of got to me. And then the idea of AI being of any real significance in the world would only be to something toward darkness.
Okay, sir, I can actually clear that up too. I'm not religious. I'm Episcopalian.
Okay.
Thank you for the call. Let's go to Bob in San Jose. Bob, hello.
John, pretty funny last little transition there. You're not religious, you're Episcopalian. But anyway, what I called about, I just had number one, a question, and number two, I wanted to throw something out on the table for maybe you to chew on and maybe your audience. But the question was about 20 minutes back, you were talking about about AI and then quoting different specialists that think that it's going to have a dramatic effect on the economy, but a bad effect, possibly 20% unemployment. And then you made the comment that you felt it was going to blow up the economy, but in mainly a good way. So that's my question. Could you clarify that? Because I think it is going to have a major effect, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be in a good way. But could you clarify that? Because I want to understand what you're saying in a good way. What do you mean by that?
Well, here's the theory. So if unemployment goes up because machines essentially can do the jobs that people used to do cheaper and more efficiently, then the cost of goods is essentially going to be brought down to zero. And if the cost of goods, and we've seen this happen over time. Remember when VCRs first came out, how expensive they were, and then over time they were basically just giving them away? If you apply those principles and apply what they're predicting and what they're saying AI will do to the economy, then that is pretty much going to happen across the board. And it doesn't even matter what products you're talking about. If you're talking about strawberries, if you're talking about televisions, if you're talking about shoes, whatever the case may be, we're going to live in a world where those things are not being sold at a premium, where those things are essentially available to everyone.
Okay, that's very good. I like that, and I see that point. So let me introduce, and here's what I wanted to introduce to you and possibly maybe your audience. I look at AI and I call it much the same as any other major piece of technology throughout the history of the human race. I mean, for example, the washing machine was technology. And so I'll come back to that in a moment. But technology can be a force multiplier. And so, for example, the washing machine, it was a force multiplier in that it freed up people from having to spend a whole day washing their clothes, beating them with rocks and laying them out in the sun and that kind of thing, to just throwing them in the washing machine and then tossing them in the dryer. You move on. It frees up your time. So it increases the standard of living because it's productive and it gives you more time. So that's the dream of technology. AI, too, as you just brought out, will do many of those things. But let's introduce another technology, nuclear energy, another force multiplier. And what it brought to the table was super clean energy, super cheap. That's fantastic. But it also brings us to the brink of destruction with nuclear weapons getting into the hands of the wrong people and bringing the Earth to total complete destruction. So it multiplies good, but it also multiplies bad. And so I apply that to AI, that we're going to see good, like you brought out, but we're going to also see bad. And I just want to go back in the recent history of smartphones. And I'm a general contractor. I swing a hammer, so I'm pretty far removed from all of the tech stuff coming out of the South Bay, San Jose, and all that. But I love the smartphone because it can do things like take pictures, and I can send them to subcontractors, and they can look at those in real time, and I can say, what do you think about that? And we can talk about it. It increases our productivity. But then I'm at a stoplight making a left turn, and this has happened 3 times this week, where the guy in front of me is busy texting and involved with social media, doesn't see the green light, and by the time he does, if I honk my horn or he gets going, he zips off, and I'm stuck at the red light. So I think that AI, much as we look at the smartphones and what they introduced, also the social media, and the Atlantic Monthly came out with an article about 5 years ago, and it showed that depression rates are way up among the younger generation. Suicide rates are way up. The need for various medications to deal with what's going on. So once again, that topic of the force multiplier, and I'm concerned that AI is going to multiply, yes, the good, but more so and even worse, the bad. So go ahead and weigh in on that one. And that's really all I have.
Technology has always dramatically changed the way we live, particularly in our lifetimes. I mean, go back to what it was like to go to the dentist when you were a child. The dentist's office looked like a medieval torture chamber. And now you go to the dentist and it looks like you're on the International Space Station. And I think those changes are changes for good. And my assumption will be, and maybe I'm wrong frequently. I'm an Angel fan, for heaven's sake. But if technology eliminates a lot of these jobs, what will likely happen is new industries will emerge and new opportunities will emerge. And maybe we replace a lot of these jobs that are tedious with jobs that are more creative, and people have an opportunity to work a job that has more fulfillment, more enjoyment for them than something that just merely pays the bills. That's at least the hope. Thank you so much for the call. I appreciate it. Let's go to Richard in Oakland. Richard, hello.
Yes, sir. Episcopalian? Oh, my golly. I heard at least one of you, possibly both of you, choke down a laugh, but we won't go on with that. What I called about was the issue was with AI. I would recall to you a movie scene from Stanley Kubrick's 2001. Open the door, Hal. I can't do that, Dave. You're going to unplug me, and I can't allow that. And then secondarily, I would say we have arrived at today's Skynet and Cyberdyne systems. You're doing great, boys. Continue it. Maybe, hopefully, we'll fix this state. Amen.
All right.
Hopefully before the rise of the machines.
Nah, no
You have
kidding.
to watch Transformers tonight. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Leslie in Thousand Oaks. Leslie, hello.
Hi, John. Hi, Randy. So my thought is, we have a shortage of basic, labor, people that are in the tech trades, and I think that's one of the reasons why Trump is considering moving Harvard money to tech schools, because we have a major shortage. I don't think an AI computer is going to be able to come plunge my toilet when I have problems or to fix my wiring. It may give instructions on how to do it, but I think we need real people in those jobs to be able to do the kinds of work that a lot of people moved away from because they thought a college degree was going to be far more important. And now we're finding out, hey, we have, some really good paying jobs in the trades.
And these universities are going to start having to ask themselves questions, too. Like, if robots are taking over the world, how many PhDs do we really need in lesbian poetry?
Exactly. Or African lesbian poetry.
Oh, yeah, that's the subset.
Yeah, so my thought is the trades are important. They've been neglected. They've been kind of demeaned, I would say, to a certain point. And now we have a massive shortage. And who's going to build all those homes for the homeless?
All right. Well, that's a very good question. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Clifton in Vallejo. Clifton, hello.
What's cracking with you, John and Randy? Love your show. First-time caller. Pretty much what I want to comment on is this AI stuff, man. All you have to do is look at the evolution of the video games in the internet and see how much detriment is done to our culture. You understand what I'm saying? When it comes to, just people interacting with each other and all of that. And pretty much what that's going to do is going to make you lazier than what you already are. You understand what I'm saying? If you could go to Chat GPT or whatever it is and get the answer or get it to write a song for you or do all of that, it's going to take all the creativity out of it, okay? I was a TV technician for 30 years, okay? I worked for everybody, Sears, Good Guys, all of them. You understand what I'm saying?
You've survived a lot of companies.
Yeah, you understand what I'm telling you? So what I'm saying is my job has literally been phased out. You understand what I'm saying? As a TV technician, go try and find one. You're not going to get the parts. You're not going to get this. You're not going to get that. You can't get it. You understand what I'm saying? They want you buying another TV. That's what they want you doing. That's why my job been phased out. And that's what I fear about that AI, that it's just going to go down that downward spiral. You understand what I'm saying? That's what it's going to take us. Like I said, look what happened with the video games. At first you had Pac-Man and all of that. Now you got all this other stuff, and nobody interacts with nobody. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, here's the difference, though. The technology of yesterday replaced a lot of blue-collar workers. AI is a threat to white-collar workers. It's not just people who work with their hands who are going to be in trouble. How would you like to be a radiologist right now where you have a medical degree and you cost a fortune and AI can spot the cancer better than your 45-year-old eyes?
Yeah. That's true, too. But like I said, I'm just very leery about anything that's coming out of this San Jose and Silicon Valley and all of that, man, because it's straight from the devil, if you ask me. That's the way I feel about it, man. It's just very satanic, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Look how these young men. Look at the young men. They couldn't pull a woman if they had a tow truck. They don't even know how to approach a woman.
That's a great line.
Do you understand what I'm telling you, John? That's how bad it is. I look at him. My son is 27, 28 years old. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? My daughter done passed him up. She's moving out. Matter of fact, this weekend, she's getting her own apartment in Mountain View, $2,400 a month. You understand what I'm saying? Thank God she able to afford it. You understand what I'm saying? But that's what it is, man. This place is crazy, man. It really is, man. And I'm telling you, the Lord is coming back real soon, man, because this is getting way out of control, man. And that's what it is. That's what happened with Sodom and Gomorrah, and that's exactly what's going to happen with America, pretty much. That's what it is right there, you know. I don't even know what to say, you know.
All right. Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. And
Clifton,
give us a call back for sure.
Call us anytime, buddy. My goodness.
Let's go to Adam listening in the Rockies. Adam, hello.
Hey, guys. Oh, big guy Randy. Oh, you were great. When John was gone, dude, you really nailed it. That was really good. But, hey, John, thank you very much, sir. You guys both sound like I don't have a lot of friends, but you guys would be my drinking buddies. But anyways, I'll try to wrap this up real quick. I live in Teller County, Colorado. I drive an hour to work in Colorado Springs. We make the LED signs for the highways, so we're shipping those guys out here and there. And anyways, comes up to AI. I take my lunch break right before you guys come on. I listen to you on iHeartRadio. And you guys are just like, that's what I'm looking forward to in the morning is when your show comes on. And I'm not trying to, kiss your butt or not, but you guys are really great. And it comes down to when I called your screener, AI. Is AI, have you and Randy actually ever, went off the air and hey, man, this might be, something we got to think about? Because like I said, I don't have much friends, but you guys are like my friends on the radio, and I look forward to you. And if AI gets rid of that, are you guys even thinking about that?
Okay, so I'll let you in on a little secret. So I don't know if you listened a couple weeks back, but remember that show where I got bleeped?
Yeah.
It was AI that made that remark about Tattoo from Fantasy Island, not me.
Oh, I thought that was Randy that bleeped you.
I bleeped him, but I bleeped the AI.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
David writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com and says, when did Art Bell reruns replace the John Phillips show?
You understand what I'm saying?
That caller was great.
Clifton in Vallejo, call us anytime on any topic. We would love to hear from you.
You understand what I'm saying?
And Randy, now that we've hit the halfway point of today's show, if you want to continue listening to us after we sign off, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes. Even more important, do a Google on the YouTube.
Do a Google on YouTube.
Search for The John Phillips Show. Every episode that you see there, hit the like button. It apparently does us a big favor. I don't know. Something about the algorithm and AI. Help us out. Search for The John Phillips Show on YouTube.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Neil writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com, and she wants to hear AI Queen Elizabeth do an impression of Clifton from Vallejo.
He couldn't pull a woman with a tow truck. Do you know what I'm saying?
Clifton might be the caller of the year.
I just put him in the folder. We have a folder that I accumulate, and it's called Caller of the Year. And at the end of the year, we do Drop of the Year and Caller of the Year. And so far in 2025, we have 3 different candidates for Caller of the Year. One was John in Oakland about the stolen cars. That was back in April. Clifton in Vallejo, he's made the list. And I don't really remember this one, but I bet it's great. It says Marlena Canyon Country Gay Houses.
Well, the end of the year should be quite a treat. All right, let's go back to the phones at 800-222-5222 and begin with Frank in Huntington Beach. Frank, welcome.
Yeah, guys, I used AI to fill out some forms for the tax assessor, and it worked great. It it's a great thing. I had to maybe ask the same question a couple times, and sometimes different days I'd get different answers. But they was pretty much to help me out, and that saved me over $3,000 just using AI. And
That's
that
a big
was
savings.
Elon's Grok EI.
Well, if you want to save even more money on your taxes, you know who's better than AI?
I wish I knew.
Todd Chrisley. Have him fill it out. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Adam in Windsor. Adam, welcome.
Thank you. How you doing today?
Go
Can you hear
ahead,
me?
sir. Yes, sir. You're on the air.
Ah, good. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure you guys understood what Clifton was saying. I was thinking that the whole time I'm listening to this guy, it's like I gotta ask them. The second I get on, I gotta ask them. So for the AI, what I was thinking is it'll cause there's got to be intentional crime going along with it. And what I mean by that is that if AI is supposed to make everything easier for us, more accessible, and put all these people on a level playing field, like you said, everybody won't have to go to work anymore. We could probably have, I'm sure all the homeless people can have housing unless they want to remain homeless. But what I'm getting at is that if we all have all the things we need and things are easily accessible and we won't have to work, then all the crime that will be committed, whether physical or whatever, will be clearly intentional, right? Because they don't need to commit the crimes anymore if we have easy access to all things that we need to survive. So things should be able to go through the court system much faster, especially if the courts or the judges are also AI. Then crime should drop massively. People will know there's no way I can get away with this. I'm clearly guilty. I had no reason to steal. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, if we don't have to work and AI basically does everything for us, then I think we're all going to be 500 pounds and in a scooter. The entire globe is going to look like a cruise ship.
I don't know about that. I always, when I see large people, I'm usually baffled or flabbergasted because even if you have a sedentary lifestyle, to reach 600 pounds, you have to try. These large people are trying. You don't just get that big. You got to try.
Well, sometimes you want to eat an entire brisket.
Oh, I can't stand brisket. Pot roast, sure, I can handle a pot roast melt, but brisket, can't do it.
No joke. I was once on a cruise ship where it seemed like every, let's call it 10th person, was on one of those little rascals where you drive around in the scooter all over the ship. And I'll tell you this.
Oh, God, yeah.
I know that when the COVID shutdowns happened and the cruise ships were forced to stop sailing and they didn't get any bailout money from the government, if they wanted to make their money back, all they had to do was set up a DUI checkpoint on the Lido deck.
That's good. You know, when I went on a cruise, I was fooled. I went on a cruise and I saw all these people with these circular patches on, and I'm thinking, my God, that's a lot of moles. I had no idea they were Dramamine patches. I thought just a lot of people had moles or warts. Sorry, warts.
Thank you for the call, sir.
You know, Johnny, if we have time later, maybe at the end of the show, you got to tell that elevator story.
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know if San Francisco's heard that one yet. Maybe I will. You'll have to tune in to find out. Let's go to Matt in Santa Clarita. Matt, hello.
John, Randy, love the show. I think AI is out of the bag, right? It's coming. There's nothing that we could do to stop it. But what I think a lot of economic predictions always get wrong is the length of time it's going to take to implement this stuff. You know, you hear some of these experts talk, and it's like all the robots are just going to fall out of the sky and, be delivering our Little Caesars pizza and growing our strawberries and all that type of thing. But if you're distributing these products, you're going to have to customize, things for certain businesses, right? The business model of Dick's is different than the business model of making tires. You're going to have to customize this stuff. Is it coming? Absolutely. Is it going to take as long as people think? Is it going to happen in a real short order of time? Absolutely not. And I think one of the other things that's being forgotten about in all this is the massive amount of energy it's going to take to keep these AI systems up and running, these data centers cooled. We are eventually going to need a significant improvement in the way that we generate energy. I mean, these are going to be massive expenders of energy. Would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, to that point, Matt, and by the way, you were talking about Dick's Sporting Goods, right?
Yes, correct.
Thank you very much. Now we don't have to dump anything. But to that point, Gavin Newsom openly says it was AI CEOs that convinced him to keep Diablo Canyon open because of all of the massive power needs that we're going to need, that we're probably going to need to rely on nuclear energy on top of a whole bunch of other things because the demand for these data centers is going to be something we've never seen before.
Without question. I mean, you had mentioned the internet earlier, and the internet got really popular late 90s, early 2000s. The great thing about economies historically, and especially our economy, is that was innovative. We never came close to a 20% unemployment. Think about Henry Ford. Henry Ford invents the assembly line, makes cars accessible to everybody, instantly puts the horse and buggy business out of business, the blacksmith business out of business. These folks will get absorbed into the economy. It's always an apocalyptic thing in a lot of people's minds when new technology comes out. And it just, it's going to make our lives better. Are there downsides to it? Sure. But it's going to make our lives overall better. But rest assured, we'll have a curve of implementation and distribution that's going to take longer than people think, and people will adapt. Thanks for letting me speak, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the call, and thank you for referencing the sporting goods store and not working really blue at 1:44 in the afternoon.
We just had to have him clarify. That's all.
Yes. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Okay, now I'm really scared. Bob, who writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com, listening online in Yuma, Arizona, just had AI create a country song about one of our favorite drops. This is real, and I'm real scared.
Oh, is the cashier dummy?
They're coming for us next.
Wait, is it one verse or does it go on?
No, it's a whole song.
Oh, is the cashier dummy? Can't figure out the change. It's kind of funny. I know that it's hard, but come on now. How long does it take to scan this chow? Is the cashier dummy?
If you can tell AI to just write a song about this,
if the cashier is dummy,
they're coming for us next.
Oh, we're goners. And you can hide under the bed if you've got some guy on meth trying to rob you, and maybe they won't find you, but the robots will. All right, let's go back to the phones and welcome Morris in Sun Valley. Morris, hello.
Yes, we don't need AI. You forgot, where do you take your typewriter to get repaired? What about your television? Where do you take it to get repaired? I need to get my rubber stamp automatic daters updated with the rubber bands. You can't get it. All out of business. Most locksmith shops are working out of their home now. There's been a lot of changes in industry. Forget AI. You need repair work on parts for your car. It was all made in China. So you're talking about AI. We have the problems now. You don't have to look for the future. I have a typewriter. Find me a typewriter repair shop. You can't. It's non-existent. So good luck. So that's where we're at. TVs, you can't hardly get a TV repaired anymore. When they give you a warranty, you go to the store, You take out a 2-year warranty, that's replacement. They will replace your television set with a comparable value. And then it goes to the junkyard, your old TV that broke down. They do not fix it. They're not repairable. So we're filling up landfills. We're full of broken TV sets. Typewriters going to the landfill, coffee machines going to the landfill. We should talk about how fast the landfills are filling up with all the debris and all the scrap that's not repairable anymore.
Apparently there's an accident coming up, Morris. Be careful.
Yeah, there's automobiles is almost disposable. Okay, try getting your car fixed properly where it passes smog. It's non-existent. You can hardly do it. They make the cars today, it's all plastic inside. The knobs fall off the radio. How long do you think the knobs stay on your radio, the plastic knobs? It falls off, try to get replacement on it. You can't. So you have to worry about AI. It's happening now where everything's disposable. You have to get high prices for automobiles. I don't know if you priced automobiles lately. You cannot buy a decent automobile under $45,000 to $50,000. Okay, I don't know if you've priced it. Yet, how many years you're going to get out of it?
Well, I drive Ford, so not many.
You don't have road cars anymore from the 50s and the 60s where they had a frame to the car. It's all tubular design. If you get in an accident, look out. There's no frame to the cars, and that's because to reduce the curb weight to get better fuel economy. There's nothing to it. All right, if you notice, the automobiles are now K-mount engine, front-wheel drive, no drive shaft. And why? To reduce the fuel to get fuel economy, better fuel economy, right? To reduce the curb weight. All right, you don't get a spare tire anymore on your car. Everybody has AAA. Try putting a spare tire on your car. You can't anymore. All right, everything has changed. You don't need AI for that. Think about it. You haven't thought about it. Look at it now, where we're at today.
All
and
right.
The new cars have key fobs. I try to buy a new Chevy pickup truck with no key fob because the car thief can steal the computer code. They have.
You should talk to the people who own Kias.
Thanks for the
You
call,
don't know
Morris.
half the story. Now, on the subject of upgrading technology, you ever see the episode of I Love Lucy, Randy, when Ethel was asking Fred to buy her a washing machine?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "But honey bun, we already have one. Your two hands in the sink." All right, let's go to Steve in Tustin. Steve, hello.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. AI. I think probably the worst part about AI is that we can really no longer trust any information transmitted either visually or audially, like through radio. But even worse than that, there's a lot of evidence in court cases that depend on video, audio, things like that. And I think that's all going to be, not trustworthy evidence anymore.
That people can doctor up tape to prove whatever they want to prove.
You bet. I mean, we can already eliminate from photographs people we don't want and then present those photographs as original. You can do that on a lot of phones, right?
I'm sure some people can. I can't, but I'm sure some people can.
It's like this, Johnny. Imagine if it was today's day and age when O.J. killed Nicole and there was videotape of it. O.J. could say on the stand, that video was doctored.
What's going on, America?
Was it me? A case of mistaken identity.
It was a deep fake.